What's the budget picture look like for next year? I mean, it sounds like it's worse. Did we really spend everything that's in the rainy day fund? And
yes, it is terrible. And again, we have to have a leader that understands what must be done. And I've spent 30 years in building my businesses. I understand what it takes, to make a budget. And I understand you can't spend money that you don't have. But folks, we've done that now for 2 years. The last 2 sessions, and I am just livid with my Republican leadership in the House and the Senate. I am just livid with Governor Henry. They have been in cahoots, literally bankrupting this state, and it is totally uncalled for. And I've called them out time and time again, all the way through session this year, and I have gone head to head with my leadership, urging them to not drain the emergency rainy day fund. Whoever walks into that office, the governor's office, next January, will be faced with a $1.1 billion budget shortfall as soon as we turn the lights on. You know why? Because the elected officials, the leaders, Republicans and Democrats this year refused to do their job. What did we do? What did they do? They borrowed $600 million more from our kids' future, from the stimulus money, and they stripped the rainy day fund down to zero. Now they're going to tell you, oh, it's got $100 million. No, they stripped it down. They moved the rainy day fund into a special account. Yesterday, I flew over the Brogdon, which looked like a war zone in Edmond yesterday. And we landed there in the neighborhood. It was in a helicopter. We were in a helicopter. We landed, and I went up and talked to neighbors, and it literally looked like a war zone. I mean, I had never seen anything like this before. The devastation, and you know what? We're broke in the state of Oklahoma. Now, I'm not for government handouts and bailouts and all that, but you know, even if we wanted to help, there's no money. And it is unconscionable with what our leadership did this last year. And I'm telling you, there's a couple things that I'm going to get a handle on, and the budget will be one of them. I have no intention to try and manage the mess that we have today. I have every intention in cutting spending 20 or 30%. You listen to my opponent. In a recent interview, here's another difference. Mary says she wants to raise revenue to match our current spending level. No. You want to raise revenue means?
Yeah, taxes.
That's exactly what it is. I'm not interested in raising revenue to match our current spending levels. I want to cut spending to match our current revenue. Does that not make sense? So our budget is in a big mess, and it will be obviously the #1 priority when I walk in there. But I've got a whole different game plan on how to deal with the budget, and it is about controlling spending before we think about anything else. Yes, sir, Judge.
Randy, what are you going to do? We have school systems that are laying off teachers left and right. We have a big education crisis. You know, President Governor got up past the casinos are in place, and all the things are supposed to be a salvation now that's working. We're in worse shape than we've ever been. What's your plan for helping our education in the state?
Another great point of difference, and what a great question that is. You will not hear any other elected official, especially in this governor's race, tell you anything remotely close to what I'm getting ready to share with you. There are 3 basic things wrong with education. It's monopolized, it's unionized, and it's ran by the government. Number 1, we're going to break the monopoly. And I've got some ideas I'm sure we can just spend on how to do that. Number 2, as governor, I fully intend to take on the OEA and get now that statement that I said just then, it makes most politicians weak-kneed. I mean, they may agree with it, but boy, they're not about to say it. Not only will I say it, I will lead on that issue. But let me tell you what we need to do in our education. Is anybody thrilled with our education system?
No.
Seriously?
No.
Me neither. So here's what we need to do. So what you break the monopoly is you get our schools to actually be a local school system.
Yeah.
You realize that we don't have local schools in the state of Oklahoma. We have state schools.
Yep.
We are one of only 6 states in the entire nation, one of only 6 states where school funding comes from state government. We don't have any local schools. We have a government-controlled, government-ran school. So here's my idea. Why don't we check with some of these other, what, Obama said 57 states? Let's check with them. And let's see how they are funding their schools at the local level, where it should be. Here is the system that we have in place today in our schools. When talking about funding, we require the teachers, the school superintendents, the moms, the dads, the school boards, we require them to come to the state legislature and beg for money each and every year. That is foolhardy. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. And we know that what we're doing today has caused a problem within our schools. Agree?
Yeah.
Then let's do something different. How about that? I'm willing to lead on changing the way that we do business in our school system. Break the monopoly, put the teachers, put the moms and the dads back in charge of our education system, get the politicians out of the way, and forget this cookie-cutter approach. It doesn't work. What works in Claremore, Oklahoma, may not work in Poda. It probably doesn't work in Owasso or Tulsa public schools. Let's get the local, and David, if we didn't do anything but have some block grants, starting off, now I want to go a lot further than that, but I mean just get rid of all these mandates and telling you got to put orange juice instead of soda pop. I mean, what business is it of the state legislature? What does a state senator from Owasso, Oklahoma know about funding a school in Ponca City? Not a doggone thing. Yet that's a system we have in place. I don't like the system, so I will lead to change it. Anna?
Well, the opt-out on Obamacare that's gone to the state dot, what's the question number on that one?
Oh, man.
759?
There you go, 759. Actually, I've got three ballot initiatives this year. And this is one of them I'm going to tell you.
744?
744 is a killer. Term limits for statewide elected officials. That'll be on the ballot for you to vote on this year. I worked that bill for 8 years. I finally got it passed this year, and it'll be on the ballot. No, gone will be the days that Drew Emerson gets to spend 18 or 20 years as the AG. That'll be on the ballot also, just then.
What about teachers' retirement?
Yeah, we actually, we have been successful in the last 3 years to start a 22-year program, I think it is.
2018.
Yeah, 2018. It will be 80% funded if we keep on track. Now, I think we took a hit this year because of the budget. So our teacher, now, I can tell you that the rest of the state employees, it's worse than the teacher retirement they ever thought about being.
Yeah.
But we have got to, we've got to totally revamp our retirement systems. There is no reason that someone making $38,000 as a state employee, worked 20 or 30 years, should make $160,000. That doesn't happen in the private sector. You see my retirement package, my 401k, it's money that I've saved. It's money that I put in. There should be no one to get rich in public service. But we have that in the state of Oklahoma.
Randy, is there any chance of getting rid of the legislative retirement? Since they have to vote on it themselves.
Well, here's what's different with the legislature. We actually don't get to vote on any of that. Our compensation, the compensation board sets our salaries. We haven't had a salary, the legislature hadn't had a salary increase in 12, 13 years, something like that. So we are totally removed from that. And David, we're part of the we're part of OPERS. So that is a state. So retirement.
But you're vested after 6 years.
You're vested after 6 years.
Like everybody else.